MOBAs are the most popular genre of video game in the world. Between League of Legends and all the other MOBAs like Dota and the mobile games that copy League of Legends, hundreds of millions of people log in to play the absolute worst video games known to man by their own will. The truth is that while League has its few problems here and there, people still play it for some reason. And that reason is that the MOBA genre at its core provides the single highest skill ceiling in video games, hands down. MOBAs have so many different factors that need to be taken into account that all exponentially multiply the outcomes and situations of a match, leading to, firstly, no game ever feeling the same, and two, the need to play so much that you can predict and adapt around these many outcomes. Game sense. Some of these factors are hero choice, economy, items chosen, resistances of said items, objectives, team leads, individual player performance, hero focus, and the list just goes on. With these fun and interesting factors of League, though, comes some pain points, which Deadlock's fundamental game design aims to help alleviate. It truly feels like everything in this game tries to contribute to game flow and match progression, even though games still often go into the 40+ minute mark. For example, instead of hitting a button to wait 8 seconds and teleport home, you are given a zip line to get around, which accomplishes the same thing as the recall and home guard feature, but in a much snazzier and less pace-breaking way. Not only can it get you home, but the zip lines also allow more interesting traversal across the whole map in tandem with the game's movement system, which in and of itself is fantastic. Borrowing from Dota, Deadlock lets you buy and receive items without having to leave your lane at all. In this case though, the game has a shop you can walk up to purchase items as long as your first guardian isn't destroyed. This keeps players actually playing the game for much longer and keeps the momentum going, instead of having to stand in a bush doing nothing for 8 seconds with another 20 seconds spent getting back to lane. Speaking of keeping momentum up, during the early laning phase, killing an enemy minion drops an orb which does a large amount of healing to anyone in its radius when picked up. This extra boost of healing means that a good portion of the time when you're injured, you don't need to necessarily go all the way back to spawn just to get more health. Instead, you can just stay in lane and look to kill the enemy healing minion, which puts you back in the fight. Deadlock is also jam-packed with extra features that League could certainly borrow. Deadlock has an integrated build browser built right into the video game. Players can create and post their own builds publicly for anyone to use. This is great on its own, but these builds also come with the added feature of being able to fully annotate and denote categories, leading to detailed instructions and explanations as to why you're buying what you're buying, for example, which is especially helpful for new players. Another fun little feature is the ability to draw on the minimap. At any time, you're able to just scribble on the minimap, which, well, 99% of the time is kind of useless. It could be handy if you're trying to indicate an area with a circle or something, although most of the time people just draw schlongs. Along with Souls being a combination of both gold and XP, it feels like Deadlock overall really wants to shake up the typical MOBA formula, or at least be very different from League of Legends. And to be fair, I think some of this is borrowed from Dota already as well, considering Ice Frog is working on the game, and this game's kind of borrowing a lot of bits from Dota, but still, Deadlock is taking these strides to be different. Deadlock does put in the work to improve on MOBA staples, but Deadlock certainly has some problems that are going to need fixing, and some of them are quite major. First of all, with the game being an alpha, a lot of the heroes in the game look like silly putty, and kind of detract from their overall fantasy. Viper's voice actress puts 110% into the character, and as of right now, the model looks like this. Also a consequence of the game being an alpha, Deadlock's balance can sometimes be fucking horrendous. 4 out of 6 of the new heroes were pretty fundamentally broken at launch, with Bebop having also been a recent terror in game, so much so that the ability to put his AoE bomb on himself was fully removed. Though, if you ask 10 Deadlock players what the #1 issue with the game is at the moment, I am 100% certain that all 10 players would say the matchmaking. As of right now, Deadlock's matchmaking is more fundamentally broken than it's ever been. Changes are being put out here and there to try and help things, but overall it just doesn't work. People with 400 hours are being thrown into games with people on their 3rd match ever. Someone mentioned losing 3 games in a row and ranking up. People who are brand new are getting thrown all the way in Emissary. I think part of the reason this is happening is because Deadlock both does and doesn't really have a ranked system. Just stick with me for a minute. Deadlock has rank groups that are taken into account when matchmaking, but also keep the ranks hidden for just you and kind of place less importance on it overall. This all leads to the main mode of the game being this horrible half-casual, half-competitive casserole where some people care about rank, some don't, and the people that do kind of get screwed because things like drafting and banning heroes aren't in the game yet, leading to games that can't be tailored as much as League. Overall, it's a complete mess. Deadlock kind of needs to pick a lane and separate their modes from like a quick play and a competitive. This seriously cannot go on, this having your cake and eating it too weird, half casual, half competitive main mode. Overall, Deadlock is making some fantastic strides to switch things up, and I am all for it. This game is just so much fun to play, and there's so much different here that makes the game so much more interesting than a lot of other MOBAs. But Deadlock does need to fix some things before the alpha is all done. There are some serious issues that need to be ironed out. But I do believe in Valve, and I do really want to see this game succeed. And I can't wait to see what happens in the near and far future. I think this game has a very bright future ahead of it. Thank you everybody for watching. I know this topic isn't really something I've talked about on this channel before, but I am super down to make more Deadlock videos. So if this is something that you guys are interested in, leave a like, leave a subscribe, and game on, gamers!